Welcome back. All right, so the next team I wanted to talk about in our little look at teams at the All-Star break is the Anaheim Ducks, who I think are also in the don't play till February 6th of 2023 boat. I know I said 2024 in the Arizona video. It happens. My brain may have already left on vacation and all that. So the Ducks are 16, 29, and 5. The record is not dissimilar from that of the Coyotes, who I just talked about. Currently in the power ranking, they're 26th on the board. 26th is as high as they've been. 32nd is as low as they've been. They were there for a while, too. So their current playoff odds are at 0%. I didn't even need to look that up because I'm like, you know what? There aren't any. There aren't any, and that's how it's meant to be. They are a rebuilding team. And if we look at it through 10-game segments, they were 3-6-1 through 10 games, 6-13-1 through 20, 7-20-3 through 30 games, 12-24-4 through 40, and their current record is 16-29-5. So that's 3 wins, 1 win, 5 wins, and 4 since the 40-game mark. So they're winning enough to make people panic that they may not get Bedard. They're not winning enough that they're making people panic too much. In that they're playing well, and like after last night's game, they said, "Hey, we won a game. We were happy about it, and we don't care where we are in the standings." And that should be the attitude. Now, for me, the MVP is Troy Terry, but the flashiest player is Trevor Zegras. Absolutely, but I think Terry is the most consistent. I think he provides more to the team than Zegras at this point. Although right now, Zegras is technically above Terry because he has more goals. 18 goals, 24 assists, 42 points. Terry, 13 goals, 29 assists, 42 points. Adam Henrique is having a remarkable year. Now, he still has term left, but I've heard some discussions about whether or not he might end up on the market. The one thing is, it is a big resurgent year for him. I would think that might put some GMs off. GMs might say, yeah, he's had a big comeback year, but what's to say that next year is going to be better? So I don't know that Henrique necessarily moves. But his 18 goals are fantastic to go with 12 assists, 30 points. McTavish has been good. 10 goals, 18 assists, 28 points. He's making that progression. And not every player becomes a star out of the gate. Look at Jack Hughes. He wasn't a star right away, but now I would think most people consider him to be a star. Cam Fowler, 7 goals, 19 assists for 26 points. I think Fowler's been really quite solid for them, actually. Really steadying force on their blue line. Now, their tandem is Gibson and Stolarz. I think Gibson's played better than some give him credit for. I don't think he's a top 10 goalie in the league right now. There obviously is that discussion every year about how many more years is he going to be happy in Anaheim. There hasn't been anything lately, though, to state that he wants out or that he's asked for any kind of a trade. Stolarz may end up on the move, though. He's on an expiring contract. He's played well enough that I think he might be an upgrade over what some teams have at backup. He might be good insurance for a team that's concerned about what happens if somebody gets hurt. They're pending UFAs. Magna, I don't think Magna would attract a lot of attention at the deadline, but he might. We always see guys get moved at the deadline for like 6th or 7th round picks. Klingberg. Klingberg is going to be one to watch because his cap hit's pretty high, but it's a 1-year deal. So he's done this summer, of course. And I think he signed in Anaheim with the idea of moving on at the deadline. I still think that's what it was. And then he wants to get that longer-term contract. I don't know that he's done enough this year to justify asking for a long-term contract. He may have to accept 1 or 2 years again if he hits market this summer. Shattenkirk would be a solid addition for somebody for depth on their blue line at the deadline. Same with Kulikov. So that is a blue line that could be really torn down at the deadline if Pat Verbeek decides, you know what, I'm going to try to get as many future prospects as possible. The one reason I say if is because Anaheim has a lot of the pieces in place right now that they're going to need for when they become a pretty good team. Now, the idea that, Connor Bedard being added to this team would be a big deal, I think that's absolutely true. But this is a team that if they don't win the draft lottery, I don't think it's the end of the world for them. I think they're still in good shape going forward. So we'll see what they do with their blue line. Beaulieu is there as well, who could be moved at the deadline. Stolarz has a expiring contract. So does Derek Grant, who's currently on the IR. And Del Zotto. Del Zotto, who they picked up, he's in the AHL. But how many times have we seen him get moved at the deadline because he's depth on the blue line? So I think there's a lot of pieces there that Anaheim could, I don't know if exploit's the right word, but a lot of pieces there that Anaheim could use to make themselves better come trade deadline and make their future that much brighter. So we'll see what happens with the Ducks, but Honestly, I think they're headed in the right direction. Even though their record this year is worse than last year's, you have to see the big picture part of it, which is this is a team that's still going through this rebuild slash retool. Nah, it's a rebuild because it's too long to be called a retool. And they have the pieces here that I think are going to make a pretty good team, starting with Troy Terry, starting with Trevor Zegras, as well as McTavish. So, and then I think Drysdale is still going to progress to become a pretty good defenseman, and they have some good prospects coming up, including Dostal in net. So if they decide to move Stolars at the deadline, Dostal can come up and play as backup for the rest of the season. So there you go. And yeah, I took this as a reason to wear my snazzy Mighty Ducks Wild Wing jersey, because why not? But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding the Ducks and where you feel they are in their rebuild and how you feel about it. Are you more optimistic now, less optimistic? And how much longer does this go? Because one question we always have is, so how long is this going to take before this team starts to make that progression upwards? I would think with the Ducks, it should start next year, regardless of what happens at the deadline, regardless of what happens with the draft lottery. There should be some good young players coming to this lineup next year. There's some good young players that should be making progression and getting better, and they should be in the mix next season. I don't think they're a playoff team necessarily next season, but they should get better. And in the Pacific, you just never know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.